InsideLINES podcast live at Super Bowl 56 at Nordstrom The Grove. We are so excited.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys for joining us today. We have some fun stuff planned today, Tia. You ready?
Yes.
I'm your host, Atoya Burleson.
And I am Tia Avril.
And we're happy you could join us today. We have some amazing women that we would love to bring on first. We are going to start with...
Well, first, let's talk about this game. All right.
Well, the Super Bowl game?
Yeah, the Super Bowl game.
All right.
Like, do we have any Ram fans in here? A few? So y'all may be like me and rooting for the underdogs. How many bingo fans do we got?
Not that many.
No, it's not. I guess
We're in LA. It makes sense.
that is true. That is true. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and kick off the first segment.
Yeah, we're going to start with the ladies. We have three amazing ladies that we're going to bring out. They are women entrepreneurs. First off, we'll start with a lady that has a passion for cannabis. She focuses on advocacy, education, and empowerment. Please welcome to the show the Cannabis Cutie, a.k.a. Tammy Pettigrew!
Hey, Tammy.
Hello.
Now, if you know me, then you know this next guest speaks to my soul. She and her husband, Jeff Allen, turned their passion for baking the ultimate cookie into the most delicious business. That business is Dallas-based gourmet cookie shop, The Cookie Society. Please welcome Marissa Allen.
Hi, Marissa. And last but not least, this woman I met, she is the founder of an amazing fashion line. I've kind of worn her outfits a few times. She started in St. Louis during the pandemic, and she started a brand called Norfit. It's a Black-owned business, and the outfits are amazing. Please welcome to the show, Carla Pace.
Hi, ladies.
Hey. I just want to welcome you guys. Thank you so much for joining us. And I want to talk about, we just talked about you starting, Carla, you starting your business during the pandemic. Let's talk about that. How in the world did you decide to start a business during a pandemic?
Absolutely. So Norfit was created during the pandemic in response to the health disparities that we saw that became abundantly clear. Yeah. You know, we saw a lot of people that were struggling mentally and physically, just trying to keep up with their self-care and wellness. So we started with a group of friends who decided to work out outdoors because all of the gyms were closed throughout the nation. So we started Norfit. We saw a lot of people working out with boring fitness wear, and we wanted to say,
boring fitness wear.
Yes. We consider Norfit to produce products and fitness wear with flair. So a lot of our products, our leggings, have that snatch in your waist that everybody wants, and we try to solve a lot of problems with fit and functionality with our fitness brand.
Yeah, I agree. I love the high-waisted band. I feel like as you get a little older, you need somebody to like tuck it in and suck it in. And so when you're working out and you raise your arms up, you don't want your stuff to slide down. So I loved that your leggings, they fit snug and tight and they hold you in the right places. Really did.
Marissa, how about you? How did the pandemic and how things were moving and getting shut down, how did that affect your business?
Greatly. So it was, we actually opened our first retail bakery the week that Texas got put on a stay-at-home notice. So we never opened our doors for the first few months, and we were doing curbside. And it was really word of mouth and just community support that really kind of lifted us up during that. But at the same time, we became a part of a lot of people's routines because they wanted a treat. Like they needed something to look forward to because so much was uncertain at the time. So it's been a ride, it's been a journey.
So everything you did was through word of mouth?
Everything. And so we would put a cart outside and we'd run to cars like, hey, would you like some cookies? And, you know, they're like, I've never even heard of this, but sure, since you guys are out here, I feel bad for you. And they actually fell in love and they just kept coming back and we still have regulars because of that, so.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Okay, so we know everybody was sitting at home, didn't have too much to do.
Correct.
But a lot of people found their new passion in cannabis.
Yes.
Okay. So can you tell us a little bit about your business and kind of like how it thrived and continues to thrive through the pandemic as well?
Yeah, for me, during the pandemic, everyone was at home, and then weed was this new big thing. Everybody wanted to start smoking weed. You don't have to go anywhere. But a lot of people were still confused as to what it meant, and I started a cannabis Instagram page where I decided to just break down why this one plant can help with 20 different ailments, because in people's mind, it made absolutely no sense. And I prided myself on breaking down this really complex science in a digestible way for people to understand. And that it just took off during the pandemic. And my entire business went from, oh, I'm just like a micro influencer trying to teach the world about weed, to now I have a show with Snoop Dogg. So it like quickly, like during the pandemic, blew up for me. So I quit at the top of the pandemic because I was like, nobody wants to know about this. And then by summertime, my life had changed. So it was pretty incredible.
Now, if you guys are familiar with our audio podcast, of course, then you know that Tammy came on. She was the very first guest of the season.
Yes.
And she sent our Instagram ablaze with a comment about introducing cannabis to kids under the notion of you're giving your kids these different drugs, you don't know what's in it, et cetera, and sometimes cannabis can be a cure for or a solution for some of their ailments. So talk a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, whenever I tell moms that I give my kids CBD for headaches or for pain or for fevers, they're like, you give your kids CBD? And I'm like, yeah, you give your kids meth, Adderall. Like, let's not judge each other here. But yeah, I mean, we all have these systems in our body that essentially are like locks. And there's only a specific set of keys that'll fit in these locks. The keys are called endocannabinoids, and if you don't produce enough, there are phytocannabinoids produced by the plant. So your kids have this system in their body, so do adults, so do animals, so does the eggs, so does the sperm, so does everything. So our children's bodies know how to receive CBD in a non-toxic way versus Aleve or Adderall or Tylenol that can be damaging to the liver.
Yeah. What do you think is the biggest stereotype when it comes to when like that mom, and she said to you, like, why would you give your kids that?
Yeah.
Like in her head, she obviously thought
Yeah.
there was something wrong with it. What would you like to?
I feel like when we start to judge things that nature makes over what man has made, I mean, weed has killed no one. It's killed as many people as it's killed unicorns, which is 0. So we can't continue to judge a plant. We kind of have to learn how to take that information that we've been given and try to think for ourselves here. It's a non-toxic plant. It literally is just that. The most dangerous part of the plant is getting caught with it and then having to live as a second citizen in this country. Now you are legally to be discriminated against in employment, housing, work, voting, holding a passport, jury service. That's the most dangerous side effect, is getting caught with an illegal plant. But if you could unlearn that portion and kind of start to see the therapeutic benefits, then you can kind of unlearn what you've been taught, which is man made good, God made bad.
Yeah,
So,
that's good.
Yeah.
Now, Marissa, you got a chance to sit down with the shark himself, Mark Cuban. So what kind of insight did you gain from that experience?
It was amazing getting to speak to someone who has done so much in his community, for his community, as a business owner. And so I just had a lot of questions. I remember the night before, I was just humming with energy because I was like, I only got 15 minutes. Or it ended up being a half-hour conversation. It was an amazing conversation. But it was really about entrepreneurship and going at a sustainable speed, and actually how to run an ethical business, because we were talking about the franchise model. We're actually opening our second store here in a few weeks in the Dallas area, which we're really excited about. Thank you. And my husband and I, we own our business 100%. And we have opened both of these, and we talked about franchising. We get asked all the time. And he said, don't take somebody's hard-earned lifetime work if you're not ready, if your business isn't there to give to them. So if there's still something you want to develop in your business, if there's still processes that you need to work on, take the time to do that. Like, you guys are doing great now, why change it? And that was just such a great, the timing was awesome, because you do feel a lot of this outside pressure. You feel it from Instagram, you feel it from just social media in general, because it looks like everybody is thriving. It looks like everybody is just running 7, 8-figure businesses, and they might be, but they also probably aren't, because it takes a lot of work. And, to just really just not put on some blinders. Don't look at that, don't listen to that, keep going your pace, because you're doing something right. You need to isolate what you're doing well, isolate what needs improvement, and then go from there. So
Now, when you started with your cookie, I know you tasted other people's cookie, let's be clear.
Yes.
And you were like, there's some, I don't like this, I don't like that. How did you come up with your recipe that you felt like this is it?
Oh my goodness, I've made hundreds of thousands of cookies. My husband, his teammates have eaten thousands of cookies. And it wasn't necessarily like, I don't like this. It was just like, what do I want in my cookie? And so it was really learning new techniques. So it was more like, how did she get that in the middle of this cookie, or he, or whoever the baker was? And then I would kind of go back to the drawing board and just keep playing around. And we ended up on something that is working for us. So
You can't disclose it, I get it. Now, Carla, we know it's Black History Month, and something incredible happened for you and your brand in St. Louis. You want to tell everyone about it?
Yes, absolutely. So we started off Black History Month by making history. So Norfit is the first Black-owned athletic line to be featured in Neiman Marcus in St. Louis. They're doing a curated marketplace for Black History Month. So we, along with several other brands, were selected to be represented as part of that for Black History Month. And it has been fantastic. It's been amazing for us. Just the whole interaction with people when they come into the store, they're excited about our brand. They get to see, touch, and feel our products. And they can also go directly to our website to purchase what we have. We really do have some fun and funky prints. So, and it's also functional because our leggings, they don't roll down. Our bras are full coverage. So it's a lot of things that we solve a lot of problems in the fitness industry that you don't see with some of the other brands. So we're there at Neiman Marcus St. Louis, and then we're also at the Village Market Retail in Atlanta. I'm not sure if you guys knew that as well.
That. Congratulations,
Yes.
I didn't know that.
So that's another curated marketplace down at Ponce City Market in Atlanta. So they do feature a lot of Black-owned brands down there as well. So we've been there for about 2 months as well. So you can go online to the Village Retail or to norfit.com to find our stuff. Yeah.
Now, I know like getting into the athletic wear industry in general is very hard to do, right? Like, so how have you been able to navigate that space?
To get in the athletic wear industry?
Yeah, like
it is. What I'm finding though is there's space for everyone. I mean, it is a very saturated marketplace. I mean, you have so many brands. I mean, Lululemon is everywhere. You know, you just have to understand that there's a piece of the pie that's available for you. So, you know, you just have to offer something that's a little different than everybody else. So we actually put a lot of time into the design process. All of our prints are custom prints. We actually have an artist that draws our prints, and everything is sublimated onto fabric. So when you find our leggings, you won't be able to find it anywhere else. So, you know, just going through that whole technical design process to try to solve some of the problems that some of these other brands have not been able to do in the past has really helped us thrive and put out a really good product. So it's been good. So far, so good.
So I have a question for all of you guys. So all of your husbands played in the NFL at some point, right? And we've been introduced to all these people. We have all these resources. But sometimes I don't think we do a great job of leveraging those resources, right? So when you're thinking about a business is networking. How have you guys, or what have you guys learned about relationships and how to manage them with the resources you have during our time in the league that helped you with your business?
Sure, I can take it first. Absolutely. No, I just, you know, our husbands do have access to a lot of resources, and it's important when you can to tap into those resources and don't be afraid to put yourself out there. I mean, you present your product just like you would with anything else, just to kind of see what connections you can make. Like, for instance, Norfit, we were also part of the fashion show yesterday. We donated to the swag bags for all the models and the 150 VIPs, you know, so just utilize those resources to kind of market and get your brand out there. So all of that stuff, you know, just take advantage of what is available to you.
Yeah, I would say the same. And it's not a hard sell getting cookies in these guys' hands. They're hungry. And so we have shipped to probably every single locker room in the NFL. We definitely get a lot of preseason packages going. So right after they come back from camp, you know, they want to treat themselves. And so we make sure we're in those locker rooms. And it's really just, you know, my husband played for nine seasons. So it's, hey, call in some people, because no one ever stays anywhere for long, right? And so after they've dispersed, and we're like, hey, would you guys like some cookies? Like, on us, we'll send them to you. And that's been huge. And we've never asked anything of them when we send the cookies. It's really like, if you like them and you want to share them, you can. Half the time they get eaten too fast, but it's all good. So I would definitely say that's how we've leveraged that.
For me, I'm a part of the number that's divorced. So for me, why I wanted to start cannabis education was mostly for the women. The women have to navigate a lot, especially when it comes to retirement. And I feel like there's a dark period that a lot of the men go through. Women need tools, kids that are playing football need tools, and men who have brains that are essentially shrinking and going through PTSD need different tools than toxic pharmaceuticals. So for me, I kind of try to position myself as somebody who can help navigate some of those treacherous waters. And I don't really speak too loudly about it yet. I am starting a sports and cannabis podcast, so now I'll kind of call on old friends to have these conversations. But for the most part, I kind of it's word of mouth of, hey, my husband can't sleep anymore. He's really irritable. Can you please recommend something? He's in a ton of pain, but he doesn't want to be addicted to pills again. So I kind of help consult there and just kind of help remove any stigma that they have.
Yeah, that's important. I think because I think we all grew up in that era where you were told not to do it, right?
Yeah.
And this is why you just don't do it, because it leads to this or leads to that. So definitely educating people on what it really is so important. A question that I have for you guys, because I think this is important for a lot of women who may have had dreams while their husbands were playing, right? But you couldn't quite do it because you're traveling, you're taking care of your husbands, you're supporting everyone else, and you don't have time for yourself. Was it easier for you guys to find your craft or what you wanted to do after everything settled, when the men were done? Is that when you kind of had the time?
I would say yes for me, for sure. My husband, Orlando Pace, he's actually in the audience right now, and we have 4 kids. So, and they're pretty much back to back. Every year and a half, it seems like we were having another baby. So I would always show up at the Pro Bowls pregnant, and they were like, are you still pregnant from last time? And I'm like, no, this is a different child. So, it is, now that he's retired, he's home a lot more, and we're able to tag team and work together in terms of taking care of the kids and getting them back and forth of wherever they need to go. So it is a little easier when your kids are older. However, I will say teenagers have different needs, so you're not completely disconnected just yet, and I don't know if you ever are, because they always call and need stuff. But I will say, now that he's retired and available more than he was when he was playing, it is a lot easier to focus on things that you may have wanted to do for a long time. So, yes.
Definitely. Same for us. I was making cookies. I was always cooking at a food blog before I started the bakery, and I always had taste testers available, but I also knew it wasn't going to be viable for me while he was still actively playing to try to start a business. It was very, very hands-on in the beginning. It was me and anybody else I could get to come to the kitchen. So it was me, it was him in the off season, it was my mother-in-law, it was my parents, and trying to get out to farmers markets was a chore. And so I knew that for us to really dive into this, we were gonna have to kind of wait for that chapter to close. But at the same time, him being available, he's been such a huge support. Like, we're both in the business, kind of tag teaming it. He's behind the scenes, I'm making cookies. And I just knew that was God's timing. It wasn't meant for me in Houston. It wasn't meant for me while he was playing, so.
For me, I would say I kind of really lost my identity and just became a mom and a wife. And that was it. I wasn't even thinking about me or myself until I decided I need to go back to school because we're at the back end and I've got to get back to work. And I still, didn't know what I wanted to do, even in grad school. I made every project over cannabis and it still didn't click. Like, this is what I'm going to be doing. So for me, I would say during the career, there was no way that I was even thinking about what I wanted to do with the rest of my life.
Yeah. It's very common. I think about, T and I with our kids, and you're always on, right? You're always on. So when do you have the time to really sit and invest in yourself and your dreams and the things that you want to do when you're giving a lot of yourself to so many other people? So I guess that's, for any women that are feeling that out there, it is very common to, you have to wait a little while, but eventually those dreams do unfold. And like you said, in the right time.
Yeah, you definitely got to learn how to prioritize yourself. So, like you do. I mean, Listen. Okay. Okay. So it feels like you can't have a successful business without having some sort of social media presence. How do you guys have a social presence, but still maintain your authenticity, right? And because you want people to trust you, trust your brand, trust what you're doing. But to your point, it's like everybody doing something, and they may not be real.
Yeah, different from.
Gosh, for me, I am boldly honest. I will never be the mom that's like, I love this. Like, no, it's Tuesday, I don't like my kids. It's hard. If I'm giving 100% to my children, my business is suffering. If I'm giving 100% to my business, my children is suffering. I'm very honest about it. It's messy, it's ugly. I don't try to be anything that I'm not. I do have to kind of differentiate between myself and my social media personality. So when I'm at events or when people are recognizing me, I definitely have to have a different energy versus if I'm in a bad mood because my son jumped off the stairs and now his ankle is sprained. So it's definitely trying to find that balance, but also not lying about it. This is not easy. I may make it look good, but I promise you, I struggle just like you do. And I feel like we need to have more visibility with that, especially as women.
I think that's what's so unique about you is you are honest in every way. And I guess to your point, you're starting this podcast. Do you want to talk about this podcast that you're starting?
Yeah, so initially I was going to have a cannabis education show on all of Snoop's networks, and it was like, wait, you need to talk about your life. So I was like, well, how about sports? I have a sports degree. I worked in sports. I married in sports. I played sports my whole life. My business partners are all in sports. So now we're going to have higher level conversations to kind of talk about cannabis use during playing, and then what else would you like to, give insight, because the feminine perspective is never really talked about in the NFL. Like, we're in the league too. We move away from our families too. We're in a new city for a dream as well. And nobody ever really asks what's that like.
That's good.
It's kind of like military wives as well. So that's kind of the conversations I want to have. And of course, normalizing cannabis use for athletes and for regular people. When you bring in people who have huge fan bases, they're more open and willing to understand. So I'm just really thankful that I'll have some pretty cool names and then Snoop's team backing me and producing it. So that is kind of finally going to be a way to tell my story because I haven't ever really talked about it publicly.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
So before we wrap up, what is next for Norfit and the Cookie Society?
Ooh, as I mentioned earlier, we're opening store number 2. We're growing fast. We've tripled our e-commerce business. It's still going strong. I guess we'll thank the pandemic for that. A lot of people wanted cookies to their doorstep, and just a lot of new flavors. And we've really started building this team. I would say kind of October of last year, we started really assembling this team of marketing and social media videographers, strategy. So we're really excited to do that because if you're still working in it, you can't be working on it. So that's our goal for 22.
So for Norfit, a big part of our business is to normalize self-care. I mean, we want to make sure that wellness and fitness is woven into our brand in everything we do. So we do utilize social media to push out fun and inspirational content like exercises. We just try to continue to inspire women to, like you said, we juggle a lot in our lives and we have been doing that for a really long time. So I want women to start to focus on themselves and take better care of themselves. So we really want to continue to inspire and motivate and just create that platform where people can just come to us to try to look to us as a leader in the health and wellness industry. So things are moving very fast. We're growing. As you know, we're in Neiman Marcus and Village Market, and we have a couple of other things in the works that I can't really talk about just yet.
Soon. You'll let us know.
Soon and very, so stay tuned.
And before we wrap, tell anyone listening one piece of advice you would give to them that you didn't know as an entrepreneur that you wish you would have known. There's that one thing that you're like, gosh, I wish someone would have told me this. Is there something you guys can think of to share?
That I wish someone would have told me? Yeah. I think it's that I knew it, but the work is going to feel like work. I know a lot of people talk about, oh, if you do something you love, you never work a day in your life. That's not true. I work really hard, and you have to prepare yourself for that and understand that it's worth it, that you need to be consistent, and you need to constantly apply pressure. If you're not going to grow. So, that's good.
I would say beware of imposter syndrome. For me, that was kind of a difficult thing, delegating tasks. I felt like because somebody else is running my social media, I'm not doing it. This isn't me. These aren't my captions. I'm a liar. I'm a fraud, and that's not true. Those are those are CEO moves. It's delegating so I can move on and do other things. So definitely beware of that, and just know that wanting to quit is probably very normal. It means you're really close as well.
I would say that time is really your most valuable resource. I mean, as a new entrepreneur, I mean, there are just certain things that you're not going to have time to do. You cannot do it all. So I would say continue to work smarter. And I mean, you're going to work hard regardless. So, you know, say yes to things that are in line with your mission and your purpose. But it's okay to say no to some things too, because at the end of the day, you don't want to burn yourself out, because you still need to allow time to do things that you like to do, like be here at the Super Bowl or hang out with your friends and family or go to dinner or happy hour. So just maintain that balance. That's so important, especially for women, when you're also trying to juggle what you have going on at home as well, in addition to running a new business. So.
That's good. Well, Carla, Marissa, and Tammy, thank you guys so much for joining us. I know that everybody learned something new, and I just wish you guys the best success in your businesses. We can't wait to see what you guys do next, because I know there's things that y'all can talk about, but we can't wait to see what it is. So thank you.